Okay, so welcome to this part 2 for serial November 2024. Let's immediately start with 2 pictures, continue from the part 1. Here, volcanoes, 2 different cameras. No, not 2 different cameras, 2 different lenses, same camera. That was the first night of this new eruption, south of Reykjavik. On the left, that's a Canon M39 F1.2 50mm. It's kind of an old lens. It's not one of those new, super incredibly well-coated lenses. And on the right, that's the Summarit M75 2.4, which is a series of lenses I really like. I've talked about it many times in the past. I happened to have those on that first night of the eruption, and the SL2. So just to give you an idea of how different the lenses can make your image look, not only because of the focal length, but the color rendering. The Canon lens here really glows terribly. And I mean terribly, it's massive. But it's got a look, and it's pretty precise. You can see the swans on the left above this small reef. It's not precise, but it's going to glow, it's going to flare, it's going to do lots of things. I'm testing it. I'll probably do a video soon. And on the right, it's really more precise, but still kind of poetic rendering of the Summarit M lenses, which I really like. Let's take this panoramic view, basically same place, same time. Yeah, I like how those lenses render, and it was a beautiful scene. It was really nice to see in real, and I think this gives a good representation of what I was seeing. And the lights underneath this smoke trail on the right, coming from boats, I guess, was interesting. Really interesting scene for that first night. And I also happened to have with me a 180mm f3.4 Apo Telyt R lens. Probably my favorite 180mm lens. It's super precise, as you can see with the light renderings. It's fully open. There's a helicopter in the sky in the middle of the clouds. The way it renders the clouds, everything, it's just phenomenally precise. It was designed for it, actually, but maybe I underexposed it a little bit. I didn't have a stand, so I just was handheld, and I didn't want to push the ISO too hard, so maybe underexposed everything. But I still think the image is interesting. At least it shows technically how different those 3 lenses are and how they will really affect the product, the photo. I don't like the term product, the photo you do. Going to the same place, actually a little bit more south, so I'm not exactly at the same place, but same angle. I'm closer to the volcano. I'm outside of Reykjavik with this 50mm f1.2. Glares, glows, whatever. It's kind of a mess, but it's got some character. Lots of, if you look at the vignetting, it's just massive. Definitely not a modern lens, but it's interesting. And it doesn't seem to have any haze or mushrooms or whatever. It looks clean. So yeah, I'll probably do a video, as I said. Again, with this lens, tends to create those big hollows of glow and diffusing the color, but it's interesting, and I'm learning to use it. And as you can see, it was a really cold day. Here's those 2 pictures. We can see that the foam from the ocean is actually flash freezing on the rocks and makes it look like porcelain. It was really beautiful, a really beautiful day. And maybe this look from this lens really gives it an extra poetry. And yeah, here are 2 more pictures, the same equipment, this SL2, the 50mm, how strong this glow can be around the light sources. That's basically kitchen photography. But yeah, everything glows. I did some picture in the past. You've probably seen them, concert photography with this lens. I think it's too much, but maybe it could be used in certain circumstances. Okay, let's move to another kind of camera that's film. That's Olympus Pen FT. That's a half-frame camera. I happen to be using a lot of half-frame cameras these last months. I had that in my hands with a 50mm f1.2 and a 1.4, so I'm kind of testing both. Here's with the 1.2 using Vision3 250 ISO daylight color balance film from Kodak. It's basically movie film with an anti-halation layer behind. So it needs an ECN2 developing process. You have to rinse this sort of silicon-based thing behind. It's supposed to have a really fine grain. I've been using it for years. I've been using Vision2 also. It's just a little bit cumbersome if you don't develop yourself to do the ECN2. So this is rolls I got from Ars Imago in Zurich in Switzerland, and they developed it and scanned it. I'm not super happy with the scans, but I think the rendering is really nice of this lens, and the Pen FT is a real pleasure. It's a reflex camera with interchangeable lenses. It's really a pleasure to use. Here, an experiment I was doing with reflections, same equipment, same lens, same camera. And I think the color balance of this film is very interesting. It's kind of more subtle than the films I use usually. But I regularly come back to Vision. Here again, those two images. I'm not sure if that's the 50mm f1.2 or 1.4. I would say the 1.2, but it looks a little bit cleaner. So it could be the 1.4. Sorry, I didn't really note my films very well this time, but I was basically testing the Pen FT. And I kind of like that series about fences. And I like the color rendering of this Vision film. Here are two more pictures with the same equipment. The geometry of this lens is really great. That I think is the 1.4, definitely the 1.4. Again, the region, the periphery of Reykjavik, at different times, obviously. Yeah, nice. A small thing I always like to remember: take film when you want to take pictures of a concert, because you will limit yourself and enjoy the concert, the music, and the entertainment better, and not take all the time pictures. But you still can make great pictures, and that's with the Contax T. I've done a video about it, so you can go check it out if you want. It's a great camera from the 80s. Beautiful design. It was kind of a posh camera at the time, with kind of a uber compact camera. I really like it. The lens was great. It still is. Happened to get this one again in my hands. And here it's with Ilford Vintage Tone 400 ISO color film. Ilford color is not made by Harman, who owns Ilford. It's a complicated story, but and it's licensing, and that's why Harman does the Phoenix color film. But I think this is actually packaged Wolfen NC500 color film from Germany. Not sure, but I've got some rolls of Wolfen, so I'll probably do a comparison and check that out. But I like the rendering. It's good. Great grain. It works well in those circumstances. I think it's really fantastic. That's Gus Gus at Harpa Opera in Reykjavik. Probably, here again on the left, same concert. And that's with Biggie Vera, who's doing the synths, and Danielle, one of the founding singers. Great concert, and the sound in this place is just phenomenal for any kind of music. It just sounds incredible. It's better than headphones. It's even when it's loud, it's just brilliant. Highly recommended. Incredible place for any kind of music. And on the right, that same equipment again, a Summarit, a long exposure. I don't know what that light source is. Probably a bike that passed in front of me or something. I don't know. I don't remember actually. But I kind of like this symmetry in the center of Reykjavik and the way this light looks. Here again, the Contax T. It's kind of growing on me. I wasn't that seduced when I did the review. It's a great camera. The review is positive, that's for sure. Great lens. But here it really kind of felt like very, very precise and nice. And yeah, with this film, I really liked it. Here I did a dual photo. So for those who don't know, a dual photo is taking a picture in front of you and on the back, both directions at the same time. And yeah, it works. For me, it works. Like the rendering, I like the optical quality is just beautiful. Focusing is a charm. Anyhow, let's go to something else. Digital SL2 body, 2 lenses. I've started comparing lenses at the beginning of the series. Let's continue. On the left, that's Summarit M75 f2.4. I love that series of lenses by Leica. They were supposed to be a little bit cheaper. They don't make them anymore. You have basically the 35, the 50, 75, and the 90. Love them. You find them in 2.5 and in 2.4. I've been trying to do a video to compare the 2.5 and 2.4, but I only have the 2.4 right now. I'll probably switch one of those days and try to compare. I like the rendering usually. Those two photos are not that interesting, but on the right, that's with 105mm 6.3 Balda Rodenstock Trinar Anastigmat lens that was supposed to be on one of those foldable cameras from the 1930s or 40s, and I extended it with tubes because I didn't get the camera. I just got the eyepiece. And I think it's interesting. The rendering's interesting for a really old lens. And I will do a video about adapting those old lenses from weird cameras on a modern body. It works. The results are very different. Here again, same comparison. On the left, Summarit M. On the right, this Rodenstock Trinar oldie. Very different rendering, the same camera behind, so not the same time. Okay, but it's hard to compare because it's not the same vibe. And I will definitely use one or the other for different kind of works. I do like both. I'm not super fan of those photos, but it gives me an idea of what I could do with it. And yeah, and last two pictures for this part 2 for November, the Summarit M by itself. And we close the loop on the volcano. That's a little bit later, same volcano that we saw at the beginning, viewed from Telyt. It's a town next to Reykjavik on the peninsula. It's outside of Reykjavik. It's a town by itself. And you can see the volcano from there. Yeah, that's a typical view of that period of the year. And on the left, that's basically standing next to where I'm taking the picture of the volcano. I'm not sure the same day, actually. I don't think so, but I had the same equipment. It came out of the car at the same time, and I didn't go anywhere else. That's just gives you an idea of that rendering of Summarit, the bokeh, and how it looks really like those medium format lenses from Leica, in my opinion. And I wish Leica would kind of do those kind of lens formulas again. Anyhow, hopefully that was what made you want to go hunt for photos yourself. Was entertaining. If you have questions, comments, suggestions, don't hesitate as usual. And yeah, catch you next time.